thank you very much for taking the time out to come to our first seminar in our second UOWD DBWC Women and Leadership Seminar Series. And today we have with us a fantastic guest, someone whom I'm truly privileged to introduce to you, Aisha Alkabi.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, Aisha is such a multifaceted, phenomenal lady that it would be a great disadvantage if I would not to spend about 10 minutes just describing all that Aisha has done. So, let me start without further ado. Aisha received her MA in Developmental Biology and Tissue Culturing from the University of Arkansas, United States of America in 2001. She has conducted and published research on cell motility with both Dr. Paul Bell and Dr. Barbara Sefieshko at the University of Arkansas, USA. In addition, she has also worked as a co-researcher on tissue culturing with Dr. C.F. Bailey at the Developmental Biology Lab, University of Oklahoma, USA. Prior to her previous role as a researcher, Aisha was a teacher assistant at the Department of Biology at the UAE University, and Aisha has told me in my talk with her that she was the first Emirati teacher assistant and the youngest in UAE. Since coming back from the USA, Aisha chose a career change, one of many, and was appointed as Assistant Secretary General and the head of UNESCO Department at the UAE National Commission for UNESCO, which was under the Ministry of Education for UAE. She had yet another career change and became a news presenter, transgressing gender boundaries, I would say, and we would, of course, try and go a little bit deeper into that in our narrative today, and presented the local news Ulum Adar.
Yes, Ulum Adar.
Ulum Adar, as well as having a similar role at Dubai TV. She was hugely popular as a TV presenter. Aisha left her broadcasting career and became media and publishing supervisor of Kalima, a huge translation project launched by Abu Dhabi Authority for Culture and Heritage, after which she then joined Khalifa University to manage the Discovery Center with a group of young Emirati students. Aisha joined the UNDP in September 2013 as a democratic governance analyst and soon became the head of program unit. She is currently both the gender and youth focal point at UAE office and does a lot of work with Emirati young men and women in the area of innovation and entrepreneurship particularly. During her career, Aisha has attended many training programs. She was the first woman to be chosen by the UAE government for spokesperson empowerment course managing crisis at Abu Dhabi Media Company. Adding to Aisha's diverse background, she is a short story writer, she is a poet and artist, and she won the Emirati Women Award in Literature and Art in 2011 for her book, No Consolation for House Cats. What a fascinating title. She also did a solo art exhibition at the Abu Dhabi Art Hub to mark the 43rd UAE National Day. So a truly phenomenal woman to start our UOWD, DBWC, UNDP Women and Leadership Seminar Series.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
On this occasion, I'm delighted to share with you that UNDP Center in Abu Dhabi has one of its mandates to ensure that they are working on the gender parity mandate of the Sustainable Development Goals, and as part of that, under that umbrella, they are now collaborating with UOWD and DBWC to be part of this Women and Leadership Seminar Series. So that is another huge achievement, and as we said, we are growing our network and we are moving from strength to strength. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
So without further ado, let us start our interview for today. Now, our interviews are essentially personal narratives. We do a lot of work now, being an academic and being somebody who's been in the area of strategic change and women in leadership. There's a lot of rhetoric, there's a lot of work around the strategic deliverables when it comes to, essentially creating more inclusive environments. But what we are going to do today is a human life interest story. It's a personal narrative of how Aisha has navigated around the various challenges and opportunities to emerge as a leader in her personal and professional life. Now, motility is the area of your research, Aisha,
Yes.
which I discovered is a synonym for locomotion. And the definition is the ability to move spontaneously and actively, consuming energy in the process. Motility is genetically determined but may be influenced by environmental factors. My question to you, Aisha, is would you say that your life personifies this description of motility?
I would like first to welcome everybody here and thank them in person, each and everyone, for taking the time to come and listen to me. You made me sound like I did many things, but I think I was just trying to discover myself here and there and pieces of what I like to be accomplished. And to go back to your question, to be honest, when you said motility, I was kind of surprised. Oh, that's... I actually pictured myself as one of those cells that I was, watching under the microscope. Am I like that? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I don't like to be put in a template. I don't like boundaries. I like to be free. I like to be given all the chance and all the space that I would, that I can have in order to flourish.
So you said that leadership is about constantly asking yourself why not,
Yeah.
and not be defined by preconceived expectations and molds. Are you able to share with us something about the journey through life, your early experiences as an Al-Kabi woman growing up in...
Well, let me give you a remark here. I just noticed that my husband and my colleague here, who just came from Italy, are the only men, except of course for some of the staff here who are working, but mostly I think those who got interested in attending this seminar with ladies, as you can see. So, good for you. Go ladies. Well, and most of them are not Emirati. I can see few ladies who are Emirati, but I can see that there is curiosity of discovering the Emirati woman and how do we get to break our boundaries and achieve our goals and become the leaders that we want to be. So I can understand that, and let me today try to give you a flashback on my childhood. The lady who is standing here beside you, putting her makeup in the best shape she could be, actually was just a little girl who were going, with her aunt after the sheep to make sure that the sheep and the goats eats very well. I came from a very agricultural place in the mid of the Emirates. Actually, they used to call it al-Mantiqa al-Wusta, the middle area in Ajman. I was born actually in Al-Ain, but I was raised in Ajman in a place called Al-Manama, a village, a very small village where most of the people there are farmers, and my father was a farmer, and I think this is something I should be proud of. I really had the benefit and the advantage of going with my aunt on those long early walks in the morning behind the goats and listening to all her stories, listening to all her wisdom, telling me all about our history and her background and everything. So I really treasure that. I really treasure these moments. They made me what I am. If I'm a good short story writer, that's because my aunt used to tell me all these stories, and I guess that developed the passion in building stories in me. So that's the side that that actually brought up the storyteller in me. But as a leader, I was really blessed with a father who used to tell me, "You're no less than any man." When I was little, in a tribe like our tribe, Al-Ka'bi, most of the ladies, or most of the women, most actually of my sisters, got married when they are, some of them, one of them actually was 14 when she got married. And some of them were getting married. My mother got married when she was 13. And usually in environments where most of the people are farmers, especially in the Arab region, they get more than one wife. So the more children you have, it's better for the farm. They will help you, and that's what we did actually. We will go to the farm in the harvest season, and we will harvest with my father the tomatoes, onions, stuff. So we were helpers. We were neighbors in a kind of way. My father used to tell me, we used to have, many VIPs coming and visiting. One of them was Sheikh Hamid bin Rashid. My father used to be a friend of his father, and he used to come and visit. And every time, instead of calling my brothers to come and sit with him, my father used to call me. He would say, "Come, Aisha, tell him what was the last verses of Quran that you could recite." And I have a very good voice in reciting Quran in a very poetic way. We call it tajweed. So I was really mastering that when I was little, and people would clap at me the way I recite, like Abdul Basit, Abdul Samad, or some of those very famous Quran reciters or something. So and I would feel proud. And that was the first lesson that I got from my father. You're no less than any man. And when you talk to the men, don't make them feel that you are a woman and you're shy. And no, just speak. Imagine yourself a man like them and speak your mind. Don't be ashamed of what you're thinking. Just say it. I trust you. You know what's wrong and you know what's right. So don't be shy to say it. And that, actually, I carried this advice with me in all my stages of my life, and I practiced it.
So from choosing research in biology at UAE University, that's where you went, to biology, to a master's degree in developmental biology and tissue culture, it is quite apparent that you had a childhood where you were not restricted to gendered binaries, where this is for men and this is for women, and sometimes these messages can have very lasting negative impact. There is some research to show that although we say that it is stereotypical notions that is preventing women into moving into higher level leadership positions, there is some later research that is showing that it is essentially due to lack of career capital that women are unable to build, because early on in their childhood they have sometimes grown up with messages that these domains are for men and these domains are for women, so that when they enter into a career at a later stage, they are already coming up with lower self-efficacy and sometimes they drop out. But in your case, you got a fantastic opportunity to develop leadership capital early on with a father who told you that you are an equal, and you were provided with opportunities for risk taking when you were brought in front of so many men and asked to recite and asked to essentially take some risks. So why biology? Why would you choose biology? And I think you were very interested in literature as well when you were a child.
Yes. Actually, when I graduated from high school, it was a hard decision for me to choose to study biology or literature, to go for literature or to biology, especially that in the family my father was a poet, and my eldest sister is a novelist, and she was actually the first woman who wrote a novel in UAE, Sara Al-Jarwan, if you ever heard about her name. So I loved literature, but I thought to myself that literature I could fulfill this hunger to knowing about literature only by reading maybe, or I could do it myself. But biology, I have to go academic to know this. I have to go to school. For me, I loved biology because it was, a food for my curiosity. I had all these questions about my body, the living beings, and the biology was like the door that could give me all these answers to my curiosity.
But you were also the first woman to go to university in your home. So how did you convince there was also a social structure that you were part of?
As I told you, Jay, I was a very hard worker since I was little, and maybe part of me actually liked the encouragement that I had from my parents when I did anything good. So if my father goes to school to pick me up and the teacher would tell him that, "Oh, you have a very bright girl, she really has a nice voice, and look at her paintings. Her paintings are really nice. If they, and he would, would be very, very happy and would take me somewhere or give me presents, shower me with compliments. I like that encouragement. I like the feeling to make him proud and make my mom proud. So I thought, I kept it this way. I loved school. I loved, being, always, on the top. And I don't know, it just.
So when would you say that you therefore opened the door for many women in your family to then start? Did that happen? Because
Yes.
your father was also the head of the tribe and he had a lot of say in,
Yes.
you know.
My father always used to sleep like around 9 o'clock. He would wake up around maybe 1 to 2 o'clock to pray. We have praying in the middle of the night. This is if you want to get close to your God, you want to pray by this time. So he wakes up always at that time without any alarm or anything. And he would see me studying. And one day he told me in the morning, he used to call me Awish, if I didn't let you go to university, I will be doing a very great sin. You should go to university. I could see you. You love education. You love studying, and you're a very bright girl. You should go to the university. And that was a decision that nobody in our place, in our tribe by that time was even allowed to think of, to send his daughter to Al-Ain. It was like a far away place, and she has to live in a dorm. She will not be staying with them or going and coming back in the same day. So it was a hard decision. It was a very brave decision, but he was like the head of his tribe. So when people, even our relatives, they know that he's sending he's sending her to the university, and it's in Al-Ain. So they thought that then it's okay. Why not? So after me, alhamdulillah, no lady in our, at least the close family, got married before going to the university. So I was the first one, and I'm really glad that I opened the door for the rest of them.
And then to US now.
Yes.
How did that happen? Al-Ain is one thing, US is.
Yeah, I graduated with merit,
Yes.
thanks to God, from Al-Ain University, the College of Science. And I was the youngest Emirati teacher assistant who was chosen to teach biology. I was actually many times mistaken with students. People will like security people will not allow me to go to meetings because they think that I'm a student, telling them that I'm I'm a teacher, lying to them or something, or joking. So at that time, the University of Al-Ain gave me the chance actually to study abroad, to go and proceed my study and take a master's degree in biology. Mm-hmm. And by that time, my father was he passed away. He passed away like one term before I graduated, and I actually talked with my brother, the biggest one among them, and I remember what he said exactly. He said, "If you want to go to the moon, I will trust you, and I will support you." And this sentence, I really I hold his trust and his trust in me very dear, and I thought to myself that I will never disappoint my brother. I was so grateful, and I went to the States. I got my master, and actually I had to take the exam for 12 subjects in one term, and alhamdulillah I passed all of them. Mm-hmm. And I guess I was just
so there was
lucky, and God was on my side. What do you think, guys?
Perseverance. Yeah. So since coming back from the USA, you chose a career change and you were appointed as Assistant Secretary General and the head of UNESCO department.
Yeah.
At the UAE National Commission for UNESCO. What was your motivation to join UNESCO? You've told me some really beautiful stories, and I think why UNESCO? Why an organization such as UN?
Jay, I have many interests in my life. I have many aspects in my personality that sometimes I need to discover myself. I always knew that I like to represent my country. I like to take this image of Arab lady to the rest of the world to show them that we're not that close to ourselves. We're not in a cocoon like people would think we are. And that idea of, joining a very noble organization like the UNESCO was really like achieving a dream. I just saw the ad in the newspaper, and I got fascinated. I said, I have to join the UNESCO. Why not? So exactly,
Why not?
all
Yes.
about why not? Why not? Then I called, and you know what they say? They said, oh, actually the ad was for a job, but not for the UNESCO office here in UAE. It was for the UNESCO headquarters in Paris. And I called, but unfortunately they told me that the deadline was like last week, and I said, I really wanted to, and I was lucky also because on the other side of the phone was Dr. Awad Saleh. I don't know if you've ever heard his name. He was the Secretary General of UNESCO Commission here, National Commission in UAE, and he said, you are Emirati? I said, yes. And you want to work in UNESCO? I said, yeah, why not? You have a good background in international organizations or something? I said, no, I just had my master's degree in biology. And he said, okay, science, good. Do you have the language? I said, yes, I can speak very good English. Okay, and Arabic? Yes, I can. Okay, please send me your CV. So I sent him my CV, and he actually replied to me that if you would like to come, we would like you to meet the Minister of Education. And I was so lucky, and I said to myself, oh, these people are really interested. So I went there, and I had a very good interview with the Minister of Education, and they said, Asha, you got the job. And I was so happy and so blessed. After coming back from the States, I stayed home for 2 years looking for a good, a good job that would actually fulfill my curiosity to doing scientific research. But unfortunately, at that time, when I came back, it was 2001. At that time, there was no research, scientific research in the UAE. Most of the jobs that I actually applied to were either lab technician or science teacher, stuff like that. That is the only thing that I could do. You are all overqualified. That's what everybody kept telling me. So that's why when I saw the ad about UNESCO, I just loved it and I went for it.
And just 10 days into going to Paris,
oh yeah,
you went into another job. You became a news presenter at Abu Dhabi TV. How did that happen?
That's also because an ad in the newspaper.
I mean, your passports were ready. You were about to go to Paris.
Yeah.
And you said,
I'm not very adventurous by the name.
Careers itself, are also divided into gender domains. What is
Yes.
acceptable for men, what is acceptable for women, particularly in traditional cultures. And
Yeah.
the media was clearly not the acceptable norm.
Yes.
It's still not normalized for Emirati women, I'm presuming, to be in the media. So
Yeah.
how
Not all of the families would love for their daughters to work in the media.
so how did that happen?
Well,
were you-
maybe working in the media behind the scenes or behind the screens, that's okay. But to be a news anchor and go public and everybody would know your face, would tag you for your name and your family, then that's another story. Like I was blessed by this grant from Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed to be the UNESCO representative for UAE and the headquarters in Paris. I was so lucky. I got my diplomatic passport and everything was ready. My apartment was ready there in Paris. And all of a sudden I see this small ad in the newspaper that they want local news anchors. And guess what? The next day I'm there. And by that time it was rare that you find any local lady who's working as a news anchor. Especially in Abu Dhabi. Maybe in Dubai they started earlier than us, but in Abu Dhabi it was really because you know, as you know, maybe Dubai is more open to expats, and but Abu Dhabi is still kind of. There are many tribes who are people are conservative there, more conservative, and most of them are coming also, especially to tribes like Ka'bi. Most of them coming from Al Ain and very, you know. Um, Conservative. I wouldn't say old-fashioned. But anyways, by that time, I said I will just stop dreaming about being a news anchor and just go on with my UNESCO career and everything. And just a few days, like you said, before going to Paris, I saw this ad and I decided to join. And I knew that I had the charisma of being the news anchor. I have a good voice and my Arabic is really good. And I thought, I was very confident. They gave me the, I went to the camera test and they gave me the, an idea of a show or something. They told me, just come up with an idea of a show and I'm going to be, one of them said, I'm going to be your guest. Just, shower me with the questions. And in 5 minutes, I came up with a brilliant idea of a show. I gave it a title and I prepared my questions. I was asking him like a very well-trained news anchor. And after that, they said, did you ever work in the media? I said, no, that was my first time. And, the very next day, they called me and they said, we would like you to come and to sign your contract with us. I thought this is, it's like, God is actually was pointing me to my path. Where I wanted to be.
It's really fascinating. Now there is a very common theme that is coming in all that you're saying. Every opportunity, now there were these stereotype threats, there were these domains that others had not entered in, and you were essentially the first one, path breaking in many ways. And in many cases, since we are talking about women and leadership, women respond with vulnerability responses, we call it in academic language, where because I feel that I'm in a stereotyped environment, I feel more threatened and more vulnerable, and therefore I then just step out rather than competing. Or there are other cases where when I feel threatened, I engage in behaviors to counter. So for example, if I'm in a masculine environment where masculine responses are needed, then I become even more masculine that is necessary.
Yes.
But in your case, it's rather fascinating. It's neither vulnerable responses nor reactive responses, but perseverance born out of self-efficacy that, yes, why not? This is something that I can easily do. So I'm going to take this as an opportunity and give it my best shot.
I had to put on a mask.
I was going to come to that.
Yes.
How did you explain? How did you establish your legitimacy in an environment like that?
As I explained to you, that was the look that everybody actually was looking at me. When I first joined, nobody knows you. Nobody had the chance to talk to you, to study your mind. I had to pretend that I'm somebody else. I was so proud of myself. I had to stop everyone from thinking that he could open a conversation without a need. So I was actually trying to give him a message that I could be in this field, and I'm gonna be very good in my professionalism, and I'm gonna be very good in my career. I will do very well. I will come on time. I will respect my job. I will respect all my colleagues, but I'm not the kind of girl that you're thinking I am. So I had to show them that the other side of Aisha, which is not my real personality, but I had to wear that mask to make people, respect you.
So you ended up establishing certain rules, and
exactly
you made sure that people understood what you stand for.
Exactly.
But there is some evidence that women often, and it's related to what you're saying, that women often experience a double bind at the workplace. So if you are very competent and if you're assertive, then you're not nice enough.
Yes, they will think that you're rude.
We have terminologies such as she's very bossy, for example, which comes from those kind of assumptions. But if you're too nice, then you're not competent enough.
Yeah.
So in your case, you seem to have navigated the boundaries quite well to balance between, fear and respect.
Yes. To be honest, Jay, let me tell you something about the environment here, the work environment. I work in many places, and I have this piece of information that I would like to share with my friends here, that people here do not separate the work relationship from the personal relationship. Like, I could give you an advice, or as a boss, I would give one of my one of the people who are working in my team a remark or something. It could be a harsh remark, but it's for the benefit of the work. The next day, even if I call her, after she wouldn't talk to me. She would think that either you be nice to me all the time and you treat me like a friend in the, at work and outside, or you're not my friend. They think that they cannot really differentiate between the work relationship and the personal relationship. So this is really something that we as Arab need to work on, I guess. That it's okay as your boss to give you an advice, to give you a remark, but by the end of the day, we should be friends, because that wouldn't affect our relationship.
So how do you know it is time to exit? Because you did not stay in Abu Dhabi TV either for too long, although you were extremely popular.
I just follow my heart. And I trust God. And when it's time to leave, I just feel it. I'm not the kind of person who would stay under any pressure. If there's something that I cannot accomplish, and if there is an environment that doesn't let me bloom, then I wouldn't stay in that environment. Once I feel that staying in that place will not give me wings, then I just fly. I just leave it and fly, and I just trust God and follow my heart.
So Aisha, it's possible that some of the people sitting here might think that you can do it because you have privilege. You are privileged. But I can't, because I have to pay the rent and I have to look after my children. What advice would you give to people like that, who are stuck in situations where they obviously have a lot of talent, but they're not growing, but they're too fearful to leave that space?
No, to be honest, I didn't have any privilege. Actually, I'm just like any of you guys. I had, loans for the banks. I had people, depending on me. I have kids. I have other, financial responsibilities, like all of us, like any other person. But the thing that I always believe that God never closed one door without opening another one. I trust God. And since you're doing the right thing, and in your heart you know that you're doing the right thing, then don't be afraid to leave.
My question to you is based on, now from what you're saying, it appears to me that you've always had a more expanded sense of self. Yourself, some of us, we get our validation from our professional identities, or sometimes even our gender, sometimes if we start associating ourselves too much with our gender identities or our professional identities, every time that identity is threatened, we start probably reacting in ways that is unhelpful. In your case, you seem to have an inner core that doesn't shake very easily, no matter what the external circumstances are, and you seem to continuously start going inwards before
I choose
responding.
To save myself, yeah. I choose to save myself.
What do you mean by that?
Many times in life, you find yourself in a situation where you are cornered. Everything is against you. You're trapped in a way. And it's very easy sometimes to give up. It's easier actually than to fight back, to prove yourself again, to start from zero again in another place where nobody knows you, where nobody knows what you've already achieved. It's very hard. It's the easiest way would be just to go in that stage of depression and start blaming people for not, appreciating your talents or appreciating it. It's very easy to do that. But I choose to save myself. I choose to struggle and even to start from scratch, but not to give up.
So the messages inside your head was, I will not give up.
I will not give
No
up.
matter what.
Yeah, I will save myself. The message is no one is going to save me. I have to save myself. I just remember the latest stage of my life where I felt that I was trapped. I have always high-risk pregnancy, and with all my 4 kids, alhamdulillah, who are doing very well, alhamdulillah, I had very tough pregnancy period. Lately, I had this episode with my 4th pregnancy that I got poisoned by the placenta of the baby. They call it pre-eclampsia, and this is a very rare thing that happens. You get poisoned by your own baby, and I thought that after going into 8 months of taking all your pills, sleeping all day and night, and all the suffering that you guys, I'm sure you know about it. How being a pregnant lady is hard enough. Imagine if you are a high-risk pregnant lady and you have high blood pressure and you have edema all in your body and stuff like that. You're struggling, and you're thinking that you're going to meet your baby after the C-section, and then that's going to be the end of your struggle. And all of a sudden, people are telling you that there is a small thing about, there's a small case about your leg that we don't know about. Your leg is is almost blowing like a balloon, and one of my legs, the right one, and they didn't know what was going wrong with it. And I stayed in the hospital, and they thought that it was a blood clog or something, and they told me that I have to take aspirin because they thought that it's going to go away. They tried all different kinds of medications, and nobody could tell me actually what was wrong with my right leg. And I was fortunate to go to a pediatric who took a look at my foot. By that time, my foot, I was actually, dragging my foot on the floor. I couldn't even walk, bare walking on it. And it was purple and that big, like 3 times the size of my left leg. And the doctor just took a look at it and said, what on earth is happening with your foot? And I said, they don't know. They said that it's a blood clog or something like that. Nobody's sure. I went to many, many hospitals here and nobody has the answer for me. And he said, wait, I will call a very good doctor who is a radiologist. He's a doctor and he's a radiologist, and he's the one who's doing, he should CT scan your skull now. And, I was so tired. My baby was sick, and he's a pediatric, for God's sake. How would he know what's going on? And I said, no, I'm very sick and very tired, and he didn't sleep because my son is very sick, so I will do it later. He said, no, please, go now. And all of a sudden, the doctor said, I'm coming now. And I said, okay, that's the plan of God. Maybe I'm supposed to stay and listen to whatever they're going to tell me. I did that. I met the radiologist, and he told me that, Aisha, you don't have a blood clog. I said, oh, thank you. Thanks God. I don't have that blood clog, alhamdulillah. I'm okay. I'm going to be fine. And he said, no, you're not going to be fine. This is a permanent thing. You have lymphedema. I said, what? What is lymphedema? What is this? Nobody knows what is lymphedema. I'm a biologist and I've never heard. I know what's the lymph system and I know there are problems with the, lymph, but I didn't know what is the lymphedema. What is this? He said, Aisha, when you were pregnant, when you have this pre-eclampsia things, your body actually expand and your veins expand to the point that it was really hard to, something got clogged in your lymph system. And it's really hard to do it because it's not like the veins. If it was a blood vein, then it's really hard. It's going to be easy to give you medication, but the lymph system is very delicate. And once it gets clogged, then it's really hard to to fix it. So am I gonna stay like that? What are you saying? Is my leg gonna stay like that forever? And he said, there is some maintenance thing that you have to do, but the problem will stay like that forever. And it will get worse, but you have to take really good care of yourself. You have to take really good care of your leg, or otherwise you will have big problems. You know, in order to digest all these things, it took me a while. You know, I went home, I started crying, I went like crazy, you know, Googling about lymphedema. What is this this disease that they're telling me about? It took me a while to accept it, to love it. As part of my body now, I have to love it. And I have to find out the best way to live with it. I studied about it, I read about it. Immediately I joined, I knew that there is like a society for lymphedema patients in Canada and in America. I joined both of them. And I'm receiving all the papers, the medical papers that actually being published, you know, by all these societies. And I thought to myself, maybe I should start, you know, raising awareness about it. So I came up with this social account and Instagram that's called Lymphedema Arabia, and I was, you know, translating some of those papers that I get in my email about lymphedema, because I thought there must be people here with lymphedema in this part of the world who wants to know. And I want to start loving my lymphedema, to embrace it. I wouldn't say fight it. I cannot remove it. It's there. It's going to stay there forever. But I would love it. I would live with it. And then I will try to come up with the best way of living with it. So I know that it's not good for a lymphedema patient to get, you know, to gain weight. Yes. So I came up with this kind of nutrition style, a healthy lifestyle. I just came up with it.
A hugely popular one on Instagram.
Yeah.
Alternative sources of food for lymphedema patients. It is an amazingly popular site, and
yes,
strongly encouraged. Please follow it.
I decided that if I want to stay healthy, and if I want to keep on going on this healthy lifestyle, I have to love it. If I just eat healthy food and the diet food and the stuff that I found on the grocery stores, then I will never continue. I will never be committed to this healthy lifestyle. So I had to come up with healthy lifestyle that is really tempting, that is really delicious, that I really enjoy doing and eating. So I came up with all these recipes, healthy recipes, and I posted on my Instagram account, which until now it's Lymphedema Arabia. Many of my followers are celebrities now, alhamdulillah. Just sit with the problem, try to understand it, and then look at it like a blessing or something, and then just at that point you will be able to live with it and make the best out of it.
So not denial, not defensive retreat, no, not anger, not resentment, but acceptance.
Acceptance.
And then you start moving towards seeing how I can deal with it. Fantastic. What do you think are the factors that limit the success of women? And I'll give you some data here. Figures from around the world show that more women, in fact 52% women than men now enroll in tertiary education. In UAE it is about 65% of women who have completed tertiary education, with about 70% who have completed their graduation. So there's a lot of talented, qualified women out there. Now, however, there are only 24% women in senior levels, in the C-suite that we call it. And women CEOs in the world's largest public listed companies make up less than 5%. Why do you think there are so many talented, educated, qualified women, but not enough women at the top of organizations?
To be honest, Jaya, I think the the environment, especially here in the Arab world, is a very demanding environment for a lady. Like if you are a lady, then you are expected to look good, to be a very good and devoted mother, very loyal and caring wife, and very successful in your work and committed to your work also. And why not earn some money also? You should be rich maybe, or try to earn your own money. So the environment, the society is demanding us to be like a super lady, super creature. While on the other hand, the man is not demanded to or requested to have all these things. If he's good in his work, or that's enough. People will not think, will not ask behind him if he's a good father or not. He's not supposed to be there all the time. If like one of his kids failed at school, probably they will actually blame the mother. They will not blame him. But even if you're like on the top of the ladder and you're a very well-known lady, and one of your kids is not doing well at school, then people will not also blame the father. They will still blame you. Because you are the mother, you are supposed to do all these things. You are the wife, you have to be a very good wife to your husband, you have to be a very good mother, you have to be a very good employee at your work. And simply they want the task that the woman used to do, it's still her heritage. She's taking it with her still to this century. People would love to see her go out maybe and earn some money and be a society figure or something like that, but still they will not take away her responsibility or her task, the old task that she used to do.
So you're saying that essentially, while we are talking about organizations having to create a lot of structural changes and policy interventions, etc., change starts at the socio-cultural assumptions level, where women, it's the care economy. It's the default setting for women that no matter how successful you are,
the society is still not ready to share some of the family responsibilities with the man. They still think that the major share of the family responsibility should go to the lady. Yeah. Even if she's working, even if she's providing for the family, even if she's, a very important person who's doing very major things in her society, they would not look at that and say, no, we will forgive her for not being maybe a very committed mother or devoted mother. No, they will not.
How do you change that? How do you change this?
In America, I used to have friends, like couples, who used like the lady will go out once a week for us, and then she was her husband would be happily sitting down watching the kids for her and doing the dishes. When I went to Oklahoma, the family that I stayed with, the man was the one who will do the cooking. He's a lawyer. He's a lawyer, a very well-known lawyer in Oklahoma. And she would stay and wait for him to come back from work and do the cooking. He would cook the dinner for us. And imagine that, one coming from UAE and seeing that. My heart aches. I wish we had this kind of.
So it is perhaps the gendered binaries that you're talking about, and it goes back right to what your father said, that do not think that you are a woman. Even in that statement, there is a belief that being a woman is somewhere subordinate to a man, and which is what the socio-cultural assumptions at that time was. And as these gendered binaries, I mean, you're a woman, therefore this is what you're supposed to be doing. You're a man, therefore you are supposed to be the provider, the main breadwinner. It somehow seeps in as we grow in our lives, and that binaries what you're saying is that should dissolve.
Exactly.
Isn't it?
Exactly. It shouldn't be. The man shouldn't be ashamed to help his wife in doing like some of the house chores or something. It shouldn't be that way. And the man should not also keep all the responsibilities. I know some ladies who are very, dedicated, workers. They're very hard workers. They never miss a day unless they really need it. And then they come back, they make the food, and then she also teach her kids. So that's a full-time job. She teaches her kids, and then by the end of the day, she's really, really, tired. While her husband is working also, but he doesn't think that he has at least to help her in teaching the kids, doing with them their homework, or at least help her with any other chores. So I think it's about time for men to know that, if you want her also to provide for the family, then you should help her with other chores.
Is media, you think, also in some ways responsible for perpetuating these blue-pink conversations? Because if you look at an ad, I mean, I call it the blue-pink conversations, That's right. If you look at an ad, you will see a young mother cooking and, keeping a spotless home. And even if she comes back, she is immediately rushing and making sure that everybody is taken care of, and the guy is sitting and reading a newspaper or watching the television. You see a lot of advertisements like that. Now,
even in the songs.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So
some kids' songs, they're showing the family like that. The father must be reading the newspaper, and the mother is the one who's cleaning and cooking.
It's all. So this is images that get kind of, it becomes part of our unconscious assumptions.
Yeah.
So there is a need perhaps to make sure that our media starts, creating visuals which are changing these gender binaries in some way, isn't it?
Yes, it's time.
It's time. And UAE is doing pretty well. I mean, UAE has got some great stories. 27.5% women in cabinet positions is perhaps at the top of the game.
We're lucky in this country because the leadership is backing us out.
That's right.
They're on our side. So, alhamdulillah.
which is yes, absolutely. Now, when you're talking about organizational, so at one level we have to make sure that society, families, the way children are brought up are not, structured in gender binaries. At another level we are saying that media or, the print, whatever messages out there should be such that it should be changing. Schools, perhaps, do you think schools have a responsibility? Again, do you see some differences? So if it's a really rough game, we say that, hey, this is for boys, the softer ones. We try to protect women also in many ways because we don't want them to get hurt, young girls for example. Now that is also preventing them from developing the career capital that is necessary to succeed later on in life, to take risks, to show leadership, to show perseverance. In your case, you said that I got the opportunities to take risks early on, and that kind of has, it has evolved over a period of time in what you've become. So schools perhaps, do you think, should also start questioning the assumptions that they come in with when they're bringing up, these opportunities for children?
School is the other family of any child. So it is really important that also the people, the mind that is behind the blueprints of the curriculums and should be chosen very well. So we shouldn't just put the curriculum in the hands of those people who are coming from old schools and who are still, have this heritage of women should do this, men should do that. We should really keep discovering what the potential of any child. It doesn't matter if he's a boy or a girl. Let him just follow his heart and do whatever he can do.
Now, when we come to organizations, where do you think the accountability lies? If women are, of course, child rearing and taking care of the family, taking care of aging parents, that's a reality. A lot of the burden does shift on women. So we often argue for flexi time arrangements. Now, the problem with flexi time arrangements is it's usually women who opt for flexi time. Because of all that you mentioned earlier, but then they also miss out on a lot of opportunities for visibility or important meetings that they need to be part of or other things that are necessary for them to grow in their career. So even when they're taking flexi time, they're essentially going back about 5 years compared to a male colleague. So how fair is it? So in essence, the data that is emerging is that you might be having these interventions such as flexi time, but it is still working to the disadvantage of women, because while they are taking these, they are relegated to the sidelines in part-time positions, support functions, and not really in the heart of the operational and strategic understanding that is necessary to move into higher level positions. So how do you think organizations can support? What should they be doing?
You know, Jaya, I think we could like there is an Arabic proverb, you hold the stick from the middle, or it means that you can balance things.
Yeah.
You can balance things. Like me as an example, I wouldn't miss a very important opportunity.
Right.
But you know, I try. It's not about time that you spend with your kids as much as it's the quality.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not there like 24/7 for my kids. Sometimes I have to travel, and I leave them with sometimes some relatives. My husband is there; he's coming with me or something. So and there's a trusted nanny, alhamdulillah, in the house. But the time I make sure that the time that I spend with them is a quality time. I make sure that I don't miss things. I think women could maybe work on this thing, like never lose an opportunity, never try to find for yourself excuses because I have my kids. Well, your kids, they want you happy. Your kids want you to be successful. Your kids want the best, to be proud of their mom, the best mom that she can ever be. Yes.
What you're saying is, give autonomy to the woman to make a choice as to how she wants to spread her time, so that she is still part of the deliverables and the strategic thinking that is necessary for her to build her career.
Yes.
So women, you think, should start negotiating a little bit more assertively at work.
Of course, but I still go for the long maternity leave.
Yes, 45 days.
Yeah, that time the mother and the baby, they're both vulnerable.
Yes.
And they need all the time to the mother herself. She needs to recover. Imagine 9 months. Is 45 days enough to recover from 9 months of carrying this? There is a creation inside of you. There's a creation.
Yes. You have written something about it as well.
Yes, I wrote an article about it.
Yes.
And I compared the maternity leave in some of the countries, especially in the West.
Yeah. Nordic countries, for example.
Yeah, they would have up to 1 year sometimes.
So what you're saying is that there has to be some legislative changes.
Yes.
And there are many organizations here that have, despite the law, they have started introducing more time for women to take
I'm sure
them
that
off.
soon, Jaya, we will hear, inshallah, good announcement about a big change in the maternity leave, because this country is always looking for the best and the thing that makes the people happy. So why not? Always ask yourself, why not? You can do it, and nobody is going to come and help you. You are the one who could save yourself, save your soul. Nobody's going to give you a hand sometimes. Don't expect the others. The more you expect from others, the more disappointed you will be. So just don't wait for somebody to come and grab you and take you out from, whatever the trap that you are in. Nobody's going to do that. You have to make that decision for yourself. Save yourself.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jay.